Welcome to the Microdosing for Healing podcast. I'm your host, Casey Garrett, and together we'll be discovering and learning from inspiring voices of healers, medicine keepers, and visionaries. Every episode, we'll explore the world of health, vibrant wellness, and natural medicine for a new era of human society. Welcome to today's episode. All right, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. Happy Eclipse Day to everybody. If you're tuning in on this Friday, we have a big, beautiful eclipse happening today. And if you're new here, welcome to our microdosing family. My name is Casey Garrett, and super grateful to have all of you here with us today. So today I wanted to bring you guys a solo episode. We have had some pretty wild, intense, transformative stars this summer. I'm surrounded by astrologers and clairvoyants and gifted psychics and seers, and for years they have been putting down this summer as an inflection point, a transition point, a major point of ends of endings and beginnings of beginnings. And I don't know about you, but I am absolutely, now that it's here, it's absolutely spot on, as my friend Lisa Campion likes to say, psychic brownie points to all the psychics who saw this coming. It's absolutely amazing to be alive at this time and watching people grow and evolve real time. It's pretty remarkable in this practice. So welcome to everybody who's here. Welcome to all of our new guides. We have a brand new cohort beginning this week. Actually, September 1st kicks off our 4th cohort of our microdosing facilitator training program. This is an amazing, amazing cohort. I am so excited to be with you guys soon and get underway in this practice. It's such a beautiful time to be stepping into practice as a participant, deepening in your practice, but also stepping into this work to support others. Your timing could not be better. So speaking of timing, I wanted to touch in with y'all this summer because this summer feels like an important marker, both for this work, for the psychedelic quote unquote industry and field is really shifting and at its own inflection point right now. I think the mainstream public is also at an inflection point of our approach to the medicines and our openness to the medicines. And it was just a good summer to put down kind of a snapshot of what I'm seeing in practice, how things have evolved. Some of you have been with me from the beginning. If you don't know me, I have been in the healing arts now for 3 decades. And after my studios in Northern California closed during the pandemic, I pivoted into online work and supporting people with microdosing practice online. And fast forward, I am so passionate about this work. Many of you know that about me. And it's my favorite work I have ever done. All of the work I have done kind of have integrated into this work and the way I hold practice today. And it's been a constant learning and fascination project. It's one of the things I love most about guideship is you learn a lot from your own medicine practice, but once you start supporting other people, you're supporting others in their growth and learning, but you're also growing and learning with the medicine by what is happening and your clients are experiencing. And so still, I've now supported over 2,000 people in individual practice. We've had 78 guides through our facilitator training. We have dozens and dozens of amazing international guides in our Gather professional guide family. And still to this day, like every week in every group, I continuously learn more. I'm shown more by spirit and nature what is possible for this work. And I really, after 6 years of full-time devotion to this work, like I've never been more aware we know nothing. We know nothing. And we're just about to be shown like what the medicine is really capable of, what spirit is really capable of, and honestly, what humans are actually really capable of. So we've been playing under our potential for some centuries now, as many of you know. So what is up in practice? So today I wanted to share a little bit of what I'm seeing in practice this year. This year has probably been the most different in practice that I have experienced year over year in any of my years doing this, and I'll share why that is. I also want to share some of the misconceptions that are very strong and prominent in the field right now. If you're coming to practice, you might have some confusion around and seeking some clarity. And then also just some guidance from my guide. I have a very close relationship with my very direct spirit guide sometimes, who often has things to share and things to orient us toward the future in our personal and professional lives. So I'd love to share some of those things as well with you guys today. So, firstly, I would say overall, the overarching theme of this year that is blown my mind and like is continuing to blow my mind is the speed at which things are shifting and opening. People are connecting with the medicine. People are opening to their expanded gifts, their spiritual gifts, their ability to feel their own energy, move energy has been profound, absolutely profound. And I've seen this especially in our group work. I've always loved group work, holding the medicine in group spaces, but that has taken on a whole new level of medicine as part of the experience. It's the medicine is the medicine, but the group experience is medicine, big medicine in and of itself. And so I can really, really see this future we're stepping into is more based on soul connections. It's soul to soul resonance, it's frequency matching versus in the old paradigm that we're stepping out of, it was very much based on who your kids went to school with, what institutions, what school you went to, what college you went to, right? And we were grouped by conformity and being homogenous in society, following rules, following structures, top down authority. And that's how we were kind of corralled, in the Maya. Now we're stepping into this very different time where we are very much connected soul to soul and by frequency. And I'm really seeing this play out in our groups. I really made the commitment at the start of 2026 with some nudging from my guide to really let spirit lead this year. Like really let go of directing and maneuvering and strategizing and doing all the muggle things we do, and just give the keys to spirit to direct and lead. And while that's not easy, it's not easy. And I want to share with you, it's not easy because I think we're conditioned to believe that whenever we're stepping into something new, it needs to be frictionless if it's right. And that is absolutely not the case at all. At all. You can still be doing and following your soul mission, and you will have so many tests and so much friction and so much doubt along the way, but that does not mean you stop doing it. always listen to your soul. And so the entire time I was listening and following spirit this year, it's not that I was doing so without doubt and without constant critique along the way, right? And doubt and confusion as to why are we doing this now, right? But just like medicine practice, in hindsight, it all makes sense. It all makes perfect sense. And I could not have been shown the lessons that I have received in any other way other than moving through the process of this year and seeing and being shown real time through my clients, through my groups, what is possible and what's coming in for us in the future in a really powerful, remarkable way. So one of the things I'll share, especially for those of you who are stepping into supporting other people in practice, is the rate at which things are shifting and happening and people are connecting with the medicine is far different than it was even a few years ago. People are moving so much more quickly through their process. And I like to think maybe it's partly because we're evolving faster as humans. maybe we'd like to think that. And I think that's part of it. But I think those humans that have soul contracted to evolve and kind of usher in this new resonance on the planet, it's go time. It's really go time now. So all of the shit that you've been through and all the processing you've done and all the shadow work that you've done and all the healing that you've done, it's go time now. So I always share with the guides that are stepping into practice and they worry they don't have the right credentials and they didn't go to the right school. I'm like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You went to life school. And everything you have experienced in this lifetime, you're going to bring absolutely every single morsel of that to practice. And that's what matters most in the new paradigm. We're quickly going to be, as the institutions and the top down structures and the way we have existed and been held together by our contracts and bargains fade and crumble away, we're stepping into this new era where it's our embodiment, it's our frequency, it's our alignment, it's our truth, it's our coherence in our own system is what is going to reconfigure us as humans on the planet. And it makes perfect sense in hindsight why earth medicines are coming back into prominence at this time. And really, this is the year that the mainstream globally is going to come to medicines. And I don't think a few years ago, like it wasn't on anybody's bingo card that it would happen the way it has, right? Fox News, Joe Rogan, like no one could have imagined a few years ago, like this is what would be kind of open the door and the way things would happen. But at the same time, I think a few years ago, it was a feeling that it was inevitable. And I have been holding this practice as much as possible in a very accessible way so that it can be normalized, that it is for everyday people. It is for nearly everyone to experience, particularly microdosing. And to normalize this just as much as, yoga, it took a minute for people to accept that in the mainstream. Massage therapy, it took a minute for that to be accepted by the mainstream. And I think we're at that point in practice where the people who are in the field now and all the guides who are in the field now have a really exciting role to play in the way that this medicine is received in the public consciousness. It's really exciting to think that you get to have a hand in defining a new field for a new time in a new way, right? So one of the other things that I'm seeing in practice as well is the extreme ability we have to heighten and sharpen our sensitivity, our intuition, and our awareness. I saw this somewhat in my clients 5, 6 years ago. Now it's happening. It's just popping all over the place. Big spiritual openings, big increases and gains in sensitivity. My group this spring, it was remarkable watching them just with each other and the connection, the soul connection that was like nearly instantaneous in some of them, their ability to entangle with each other. And we're at that point with medicine practice where the medicine is the medicine, but it's so much of our human medicine that is just as powerful to the process. And I think that's why, as we evolve as humans, giving ourselves the opportunity to drop into spaces and to follow our heart, to follow those little tugs in our heart that call us into things that might be quirky or weird, or our families might go, "What are you doing? Like, what are you, what are you studying and what are you into?" Those are the things, those invisible threads that are going to bring you into connection with your soul tribe, with your people. And they are medicine for you, and you are medicine for them. So follow those nudges more than ever. Because it's, like I said, it's go time here on Earth. The other thing I wanted to share with you all is a couple big misconceptions I've been hearing lately and very up in the field right now. So one is that this practice needs to be done this way, that way, or the other way, according to whomever, right? And I just want to share, like in my experience working with people, this experience is so individual. It's your soul is as unique as a snowflake. Like there is no other you. And you have so many incarnations you're bringing into this lifetime. And that is going to be what is working with the medicine. Ultimately, this is physical work, it's mental health work, but ultimately it's soul work. And so your experience is going to be so dependent on, and foremost is your relationship between your soul and the medicine is kind of underlying the foundation of everything. And so while I believe in having protocols and scaffolding, I'll explain why in a minute. Ultimately and overall, like your experience is going to be your own. As guides, we're here to support you and hold you and see your potential, see where you're going, help you make sense of your experience and mirror to you help you understand and translate for you what is happening in your experience through spirit and nature. But ultimately your experience is going to be so uniquely your own. I think all humans benefit by structure and scaffolding at the start of any new practice. And so that's why I do deeply believe at the beginning, especially when working with any new medicine for the first time or a medicine you haven't worked with, it's beautiful to have a protocol and a dosing schedule at the outset. Because, so for example, really any practice, any art, any craft that you're learning, meditation, riding a bike, learning to paint. It's learning to do massage. I remember when I was first starting out in body work, you learn a routine to start with. You learn a routine and you get that routine and you do it and you put in the reps and the reps and the reps and the reps. And then after you have worked on 100, 200, 300 bodies, the routine is so you become the routine, like you become the flow. And that's when you can begin to make it your own. You expand from that. And so medicine practice to me is the same, is once you have that scaffolding, once you get to the point where you're connected to the medicine, you don't need to practice with the medicine. Your medicine is part of you, you are part of it. Then you can take the scaffolding away and you're fine without it, right? And then you can move into just an intuitive practice. The medicine will call you when it's time to come back and when it's time to take a break. But at the outset, I do believe in protocols and dosing. I also really, lots of times, humans do the human thing and want to argue and fight over not only how to do the thing and who has permission to do the thing or who gets credit for the thing. I hold this practice and medicine work as belonging to nature, to the natural world, to the spirit world. And we as the humans are conduits, we are vessels, we are channels, we are guides, we're supports, we're connectors. We are all different things, different labels and names, but ultimately the medicine belongs to itself. I think we spend so much time arguing as humans and what age and what culture and like, right? All of us, every single human, every single culture are babies here. We are just babies here in Humanville. And I love to honor and revere nature and listen to nature most. I think nature is our greatest teacher. Spirit is our wisest mentor. And so we can have human teachers and we can apprentice ourselves to humans. Ultimately, I hold practices, ultimately, the ultimate teacher, the ultimate guide, and the ultimate authority of this medicine is the medicine itself and the natural world. The other thing I have seen in practice is lots of discussion and talk lately around pharmaceuticals. We just had a great podcast episode recently with Delon Canterbury around deprescribing. He's a deprescribing specialist. I think that this whole topic and this whole can of worms is really going to be prominent in the coming years. And for several reasons. I think with the enormous shifts in our healthcare system that are afoot, more and more people are going to be pushed off of insurance, choose to go off of insurance, and not going to have the same coverage for prescription drugs that they had. So all of a sudden, we're going to have a lot of people who they got meh results from their medications, or they're not having the results that make them necessary or able to be afforded for the new costs of the medications. And so all of a sudden, I think we're going to have a lot of people who would have been content to stay on a medication when it was a $10 copay. When it's not a $10 copay anymore, we're going to have a lot of people motivated to move off of their pharmaceutical medications and move toward natural healing, sovereign healing, elemental healing. Also, too, I have noticed, and this has been, I smile because this has been really remarkable to witness. So many people, particularly women, have been saying to me, I feel like something is physically pushing me away from my pharmaceutical medications. And lots of them, it's lots of like painkillers or antidepressants, um, sleeping medications. Sometimes it tends, I've noticed it's the medications that people name, it tends to be numbing agents, which is really interesting to me. They're all medications that somehow disconnect you. Like their mechanism is inherently disconnecting you from your senses, disconnecting you from yourself to some extent. And those are the medications that people like are people are just finding they're like, I can't take it. Like suddenly I'm feeling ill. I go to open the bottle and it's just repellent to me for the first time. And they're physically, like spiritually being drawn away from their pharmaceuticals. And I've never seen this before. And I've never seen the number of people who have shared that theme like I have this year. So something's going on. Something's absolutely going on. And I do think it's because of the shift in the energy. And we are evolving as beings. We're becoming more open, more crystalline, more sensitive. That will enable us to do all these amazing things energetically and through communication. But also, it's really putting us into a closer connection to our physical bodies. Now, I think we're finally going to be, spirit is being very loud with a lot of us to move away from synthetics that are not aligned with us, that are numbing us. Spirit is also encouraging a lot of people to change their diet and shift their diet. A lot of my clients are going, I used to be able to kind of eat whatever. And now all of a sudden, like my body is just really wanting refinement. The time of day I'm eating, the way I'm eating more foods with a living resonance to them, not eating processed foods and junk foods anymore. And it's happening very quickly and it's very loud. Spirit has had from what people are sharing with me, just a very heavy hand with what is going to happen next in your life. And this sometimes is your nutrition and your diet, but also just other lifestyle things, relational things, how we are orienting ourselves in the world. So interesting, and so fascinating to observe. Um, Around this topic too, a lot of people there's a lot of conversation right now about how you should move off of pharmaceutical drugs, if you should or you shouldn't, and how you should do it. I just wanted to share my own personal experience just to not necessarily refute many of the other viewpoints out there, but just to share my lived experience of having supported many hundreds of people who are on pharmaceutical medications and how I have seen it play out in the real world. So I have seen people have remarkable results with tapering, with microdosing. It's unequivocal to me that microdosing is supportive of helping people in the tapering process. And it's going to be nuanced and it's going to be individual for each and every person. But unequivocally, from what I've seen, working particularly with psilocybin mushrooms, when people are tapering off of pain medications, when they're tapering off of antidepressants, SSRIs, SNRIs, thoughtfully done, intentionally done, and professionally done, working with a pharmacist, oftentimes, or a prescriber alongside guideship, working together in that process, it's night and day the experience of the tapering. I work with many people who have a lot of fear because they've tried to taper in the past without any additional support, and it's night and day. And it's really helpful to easing some of the withdrawal symptoms. And sometimes we work with psilocybin, sometimes we work with Amanita muscaria. We really tailor it to each person and where they are in their life. There's so much. I could do a whole podcast on this topic alone, but I just wanted to share my viewpoint because there's been a lot of like black and white statements put forth by different people in the field recently on this subject. And so I just wanted to share and reflect what I have seen and affirm that if that's your goal, is to move off of synthetics and wondering if this can be supportive, yes, I can unequivocally say in my experience, yes. The other thing that I would love to share that's also I hear repeated, and I have not seen this to be the case whatsoever, and especially lately, I have seen this to be absolutely not the case with people, is the fact that we build up tolerance to the medicine and we need to work with ever increasing higher doses to receive the same effect. I have actually seen the opposite to be true in a really dramatic way this year. More than ever this year, lots and lots of my established clients that I have worked with for years now are reporting to me. They're like, I went back to practice after taking a break for the last year, and I just need the tiniest dose to get the same effect. Again, I think it's people are evolving and we are changing physically and energetically. So we don't need the same amount of medicine that we did a few years ago. But also, too, once you work with the medicine and you tap in and you connect with the medicine, you shed a lot of grief, you shed a lot of density, you shed a lot of fear. You don't need the same amount of medicine that you once did, right? Your being and your connection to spirit is at a totally different place. So I think the more that people have and the need a higher dose, that's more to do with our human minds of always wanting more, right? And it's indicative of someone who is, if you are not yet fully connected and tapped into your own connection to yourself, I think there's more of a tendency to think you need ever increasingly amounts of medicine and higher amounts of medicine to take you someplace, right? It once you tap in with the medicine, you realize I don't have any place to go. It's more deeper, right? You're not going outside anywhere. You're just going deeper and deeper. And it's easier to tap into those places once you reach a certain set point with the medicine. Then when you return to the medicine, it's much less frequently and it's much less often. So there's a lot of pressure and noise in the space of holding up as a badge of honor, like how many hundreds of journeys you've done, or how much medicine, or how many grams you can take. I have found those things to be actually indicative of the opposite of what people are intending them. I think people, the guides that I most revere and the medicine keepers I most revere, evolve in their practice to the point where they don't need the medicine at all. Like they're so connected with the medicine that they're living the medicine, right? They're embodied in the medicine and they don't need to do more and more and more to get to the same state. They call upon the medicine when they're working on something very specific, oftentimes for a client, right? We're working toward understanding the medicine better on behalf of our clients. And sometimes it's just the medicine calls them back because the medicine believes that it's time for a new lesson for them. It's a new portal for them. So I just want to share that if you are feeling pressured in any way to do more and more and more and bigger, actually, to me, the mark of a mature medicine person is actually needing less and less medicine over time. All right, let me share a little bit about you. I am so, this year has been such a trip in this process of just giving the keys to spirit and letting spirit drive. Is there's been a number of things, and our human design programs have been a great example of that. And so, as many of you know, have been with me for this year. At the beginning of this year, we brought in a human design summit for human design projectors back on the spring equinox in March. And oh my gosh, I had so much resistance to doing that. I was like arguing with spirit back and forth for months about this. And I was like, it doesn't make any sense. I don't do this. It's outside of my wheelhouse. I'm really busy. What do you want? You know, the whole thing. And when I finally just put my faith in spirit, it was magic. It was magic. And I learned so much in the process. And that's the beauty of really listening to your heart and your soul and your spirit and just letting spirit lead, is you learn in the doing. You know, so often we want as humans the certainty of the thing, like the guarantee of the thing and what we're going to get on the other side. It's the doing of the thing that the lessons reveal itself always. And so trust, like, especially all of you, again, like if you're leaning into something new, that's it. Like that is the medicine. And the more you put faith into your own soul and your own development, like spirit meets you in spades. And so much of these new offerings that were kind of stretchy to me, and I really didn't know why we were doing them. And, we did a human design projector immersion that's just wrapping up this summer. And that too, it really did make quote unquote logical sense and a strategic standpoint of why we were doing this. But the lessons that spirit has shown me through that experience in the embodiment of the group, how they were brought together, how they connect, watching them evolve real time energetically in our immersion groups in the spring and summer was just absolutely fascinating. And what's so neat is like, it's just the beginning. Like, spirit's like, this is just the beginning of what you all are capable of if you lean into possibility as humans. And like, what we are truly capable of from an energetic standpoint is far beyond anything that we have comprehended up until date of what's possible. So to see that start to play out real time has been really, really affirming and really exciting about the future. Another thing, and I want to share this with people new to practice, particularly, and people who are new to guiding, because there's a whole various and sundry reasons why clients or you as a new practitioner will go, I set an intention and it's just not working. I set an intention and spirit apparently isn't listening to me. Like, I set an intention and I'm kind of getting the opposite of what I thought. And so lots of the times the way this manifests is right now in the field, there's a greater variety of medicines and strains than ever before. Like a few years ago, it was kind of nice that we didn't really have a lot of options. So we didn't get to get hung up on things mentally, and move into the role of a shopper, because we were cultivating our own medicines at home, or we had like a source and that was it, right? Now, with the variety that's out there, people can get really caught up in their head and really caught up in the prescription model of this medicine gives this result. This strain will do this result, right? And so people go from the standpoint of, I've never done this before. I have no idea what to expect. I'm kind of open and I don't have preconceived notions or expectations. Now, sometimes when you're new, you can have, unfortunately, expectations of the medicine performing a certain way, just like we would do with pharma drugs, right? When that's not how earth medicines work at all. So I have found when I am talking to folks new to practice is set your intention, set your hopes and intention of how you hope to feel versus what you're going to get, right? Necessarily. And just trust that spirit and the medicine hears you and is moving in such a way that it's going to bring you what you desire in the fastest way. I have never seen the medicine not work, truly not work. Yes, it has impacts and results that people opt not to continue, but that's different than the medicine not working. And here's an example of how it plays out. So someone might come and say, I really, really want to connect with my angels and my guides, and I know I have this strong spiritual connection and draw, but I just can't tap in. And I really want the medicine to help me tap in. And they start practicing and they cannot stop crying. They're just crying and they're sentimental and they're tender and they're just weeping. And then they do a mini dose and they're just in tears and sobbing, and just sheets of tears are coming out in a cathartic way. And they'll come to you, or you'll come to your guide and say, I really wanted to connect with my spirit and I'm just crying a whole lot. Well, the medicine is absolutely bringing you closer to spirit, because that grief is the energetic wall that's standing between you and connecting to your guides. Our angels and spirit and guide source and our connection to spirit is around us all the time. It is in all living things. It is surround us, is there supporting us all the time. It's there for us all the time. And our job as humans is to work with our body, mind, and spirit to get ourselves into alignment and attunement and coherence and release fear and density from the body. And that's what is going to enable us to connect with spirit. So on its face, people are like, I'm just crying all the time. Like, how is this healing? This is what healing, like real, true, lasting source healing, looks like. And so nature and spirit are absolutely giving you exactly what you wanted because that's the fastest way to do it, right? It's just we have to sometimes set aside our conditioning and our models that have taught us to believe that healing is numb. Healing is never feeling. Healing is never feeling uncomfortable. Actually, healing is moving through the process. And oftentimes, our emotions are one of our biggest ways and through lines to process our healing and move along our healing path. So that will happen a lot. And I share this now because particularly when people have a lot of options, we tend to go into that consumer mindset to get a certain effect. Like if I get the strain, I'm going to get this. If I do this, it's going to do this. Not always. Not always. The medicine is going to see the true line and the clear path, and it's going to go that way. So, as a new practitioner, I would say trust what is happening, stretch yourself to sit with what is happening, get curious about what is happening. And as a guide, this is a big part of our role as a guide is to start to translate what is happening, why it's happening for our clients and support. Because once you see it, it's like, oh, oh, okay, that's really clever, or that's really wise, or that's way faster than our human mind would have approached something. So yeah, I have seen this play out in so many different ways. And again, the more you do it, you'll more to come to trust the medicine and spirit, and what is happening is exactly what needs to be happening often. So, what is my guide up to? My guide is, as usual, vocal. So those of you who are new to me, I have a very close relationship with my spirit guide. We all have multiple spirit guides and angels around us and ancestors around us. I just happen to have one guide that now in hindsight I know has been with me from the time I was a young child. And now in hindsight, I know I can recognize her voice in very pivotal moments of bossiness in previous parts of my life. And it was really after I moved from California to Florida that my connection to her really expanded tremendously. And it's a testament to, particularly as a human design, I'm a mental projector, human design type, and my environment. Once I got into a different environment, I live in a small beach town now, which is the most beautiful, soft, expansive vibration. And once I put myself here, my connection to her expanded exponentially. And so she is with me when I guide. She is with me and I form in groups. She's very she's a directive sometimes and always right, seemingly. So I sit sometimes with her when I see things happening in practice and themes and threads, and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what is going on? And one of the things that came through recently was I was witnessing this next cohort of our guide training filling, which is always it's such a delight for me because there's always themes and threads. Like one group, we had a lot of psychotherapists and a talk therapist in. Other groups, we had a lot of creatives. Other groups, we've had a lot of corporate people pivoting. And this group, oh my goodness, like there's been such clear themes coming through in this group. And one of them was the body workers, like the body workers finally, like I love the combination of microdosing and all somatic therapies. I think it's such a beautiful combination. And I'm like, where are all the body workers? Where's all the massage therapists coming to microdosing practice? And it's now, it's now. And so we have more than ever, we have a lot of somatic practitioners, energy workers, people who work on the physical body, but also people who work on the subtle auric body. spinal flow, biofeed, frequency work, Reiki, polarity, energy healing, massage therapy, somatic practice, craniosacral. I'm so, so excited that lots and lots of energy workers, body workers are in this crew. And it was happening so remarkably. I asked my guide, why now? Like, why now? It can't be a coincidence. And it's not, of course. And what she shared with me is that moving into this new resonance and energy background frequency that we're going to increasingly acclimate to is it's so fast and it's so there's beauty to it being so fast, an advantage to it being fast, but it's a little wobbly for us to get used to because we're used to a very dense body in a very dense world in a very heavy time. Um, and as we adjust physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually into a higher resonance and a higher vibration that's very fast and high, it's like, whoa, right? So we're kind of getting our body, it's kind of landing in a different altitude. Your body just like needs time to adjust. That's what the human is doing right now. So, as a consequence of being in this light, kind of buzzy energy, it's very freeing, it's very fast, but it can also feel very unstable, right? We've used to had like a gravity holding us in our lives, something that's just there all the time. We're not conscious of it. It's just there. That's gone. And next year, that's really going to be gone. And so, people who are very air and fire, or people who are very much in their heads all the time, are more prone to an instability. So, for example, if you're feeling more anxious, if you're feeling more, I can't focus, if you're feeling like I can't read a book, if you just feel like ungrounded and you can't land, like you feel like you've been hovering. A lot of my clients are like, I feel like I've been hovering this year. And I'm like, not in my past, but I'm not in my future. I'm just kind of hovering. That's exactly right. Exactly right. Um, and part of my guide has showed me like this is a process where we signed up for this, like believe it or not, like we all signed up to be here on this precipice of great change and shifting of eras. And so it's very natural that we're kind of be on the transition team. So it's going to feel weird a little bit. And so a lot of these next few years is just not making things a problem. Like if you're feeling a little buzzy and harder to ground one day, like don't make it a problem. Like you don't have to medicate for everything, right? Just be like, oh, that's interesting. I feel this way, or I feel this kind of pressure. I feel this sensation. And just be curious about it. It doesn't need to be a problem. It's just we're growing, we're evolving real time as humans, and we're shifting to a new energy. And give yourself some grace and self compassion to just let yourself evolve. That's what's happening. So the reason why all the body workers and energy workers are showing up is more than ever. Like we have spent so much of the last era in our heads. And so, very naturally, all of our integration activities, our lifestyle practices, and our mental health models are all head based, right? Let's talk about our experience. Let's talk about our traumas. Let's talk about our childhood experiences over and over and over again and like stay in the mind, right? All of our integration activity, journal about yourself, journal about yourself, journal about yourself, meditate, right? Focus on quieting your mind. These practices, while some people will absolutely continue to benefit by those modalities and things, because of the shift in the energy, is we're really going to need to get into our bodies in a whole new way. We're going to connect with our energy in a whole new way. So all of these professions that are body based and subtle body based, body work, somatic therapy, acupuncture, acupressure, things that connect the physical body and the etheric bodies, that create coherence in the physical, um, and subtle bodies, are going to kind of step into a new prominence and necessity and vitality for this new era because people are going to be very mentally destabilized just as we acclimate. So again, not making that a problem. Like you don't need a diagnosis for everything. Like you, if you feel you're acclimating, you don't need to make it a condition or a diagnosis. Step into things that will bring you into your body, that will ground you, that will connect you to the earth, that will elementally replace the frequency of the earth and water that we're leaving behind as we step into this air and fire frequency. So it's again spirit helping us evolve, kind of summoning people that are all these body and energetic based practices into supporting people with microdosing practice. It's just again just observing what nature is naturally instigating and happening, and it's like this is where we need to go, like follow its nature, kind of pointing an arrow. This is the way. This is the way. So I see a future where with microdosing practice, it's held in this beautiful web of interconnected modalities to help people based on their unique blueprint, their unique design. It's one of the reasons why I love human design so much and energy work so much is it really helps you understand your own energy as a unique individual. And the integration activities as guides we bring in to help support you are going to be as unique as you. We watch, we wait to see how the medicine is working through you, how your own energy is flowing. And so some people will really benefit by coming up into their mind and expressing themselves through their voice and through their mind, writing, speaking, singing. Other people will benefit by bringing more of that energy through their body, physically moving, dancing, drumming, walking, biking, swimming, all the things. Other people will have a very, very mystical experience. And so bringing in lifestyle elements that can help support that connection with spirit and these openings that are naturally happening, bringing in an awareness and an understanding of what that looks like and how that can happen and how you can support that to help bring that forward in a way where you can utilize and harness those gifts without being overwhelmed or destabilized by them. So super, super exciting. The other thing I'm seeing is I shared this with many of the guides coming in. It has blown my mind like how many guides in this cohort were born in 1975 and 1976. Super interesting. And granted, we have a big age range from 20 somethings through late 60s overall. So you don't have to be 50 or 51 to be in this group, but it's just a remarkable theme that I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out. Like some of the things that come through in your groups and in your experiences with medicine practice, when they're that clear, sometimes it takes a beat for me to see like, okay, that's what's happening there. I have a hunch, and I've shared this in a previous podcast where my guide had shared the roles of the different generations. And one of the things she had shared in a previous episode with Gen Xers, the Gen Xers are really like she almost described it like as the pin, like we're pinning together the generations in this transition point that the Gen X generation is uniquely able to connect the past with the future. You know, we're the only generation that can probably remember rotary phones and analog living, right? And so in this time where we're like just hurling into a techno future, right? That is so surface and so lacking in human, like the Gen X generation can remember a time before tech. It's probably the last generation that was pre-tech, to remember what it was like to have human crafted things, and analog things. And so I think that there's going to be like a human hunger for those things and things that a time when people had that, to hold on to kind of land in our humanness. And that generation is unique in that connection and bridge. So the other thing Spirit wanted me to share with you all to support your process is to lean into, and psilocybin will help this, trust me, is to lean into self-honesty and maturity. And in this as all of the old world, the institutions, the bargains, the contracts, and the leadership of authoritarianism, of rules, of boards, of permissions, as that either falls apart or it becomes so corrupted to the point of absurdity. Like we're there now, and for those of you in the US, we know now where we have our leaders, our authorities are not able to follow the laws that they are charged with upholding and creating. Right. And so we're at this kind of crisis point in trust and authority that's very well founded. And it's pushing us into self trust. When you can't trust what is true, what is false, or what is real, what is fake, what is AI, what is human anymore, all that we have to come back to is back to ourselves. And so it's very destabilizing for people who kind of grew up with, I have to wait for permission, or wait for the leader to determine what we do next. We're in that time where we're coming back into our own self-trust, our own sovereignty, our own empowerment. And so through this very deeply uncomfortable process of honesty, one of the things my guide has shared with me, one of the greatest gifts I have seen with psilocybin mushroom practice, and it's the same thing why a lot of people aren't really keen on psilocybin mushroom practice, is it requires a certain sense of courage, like a certain sense of courage and self-honesty to be able to face yourself honestly and realistically. People often talk about bad trips, and I think sometimes like people who have bad trips, it's just they're faced with their own dishonesty sometimes, and that's what makes it bad, right? If you're really ready to face your life and face your reality, both your experiences, but also those experiences you have caused for others, that sometimes is I think what people deem as a bad trip. So to support your evolution right now, my guide has said to get really, really clear on those parts of yourself that are still immature, that are still pure, PUER. And we can't control a lack of nobility in our leadership right now. Therefore, rather than trying to fight and rail and resist and complain, and although, we have rights to, right? It's so much more powerful, my guide has shared with me, instead, is the faster we can come into our own nobility, our own honesty, and our own ability to grow and mature and hold a higher note for humanity, that is the fastest way to the future. That is the fastest way to change. That is the fastest way to ignite this collectively and have it ripple out a consciousness around the world. And the way that has played out in myself and many, many clients that I have supported this year is everybody is bumping up against their deepest wounds, their deepest childhood things, the stingy stuff, the childhood stuff, the thing that was said, the thing that was done, these things that have been kind of embedded in our consciousness, our old stories, our own wounds, our old defenses, our old, things that we have struggled to get past. Spirit has shown me like this summer is a jump off point. It's a point where you can go, I bless this, I have learned from this, and I'm no longer living in this. I'm no longer living in this wound or in this pattern or in this behavior or in this relationship anymore. It's an opportunity for the jump off. And you take with you all that you have learned from it, but stepping into this greater maturity and possibility as a human. So in real day-to-day practice, what does that mean? It means cleaning up all the immature stuff that we all have and like continue to energetically leak into our future selves. So for some of us, it might be a tendency toward entitlement, and how do you know you're still in entitlement? It's like, how do you respond when you don't get to go first? right? How do you respond if people don't notice you best or notice you most? How do you respond when you actually have to wait for things? How do you respond when you're told no? How do you told when someone doesn't respond in what you deem as a timely manner or give you the respect that you think you deserve or need? Like all of these little things, like those are cues, like we can do some sweeping around this or that. Other people, it's just our immature impulses, our tendency toward gossip, our tendency toward to shame and police other people's behavior. You know, I there's no shortage of this in the psychedelic field or in the yoga field or the spiritual field, every field that I have been in my whole life. Um, there is a tendency to overly pay attention to what other people are doing, versus staying on your focused on your own craft and your own work and your own process. One of the things Spirit has shown me very painfully clearly at times is if you are feeling any which way about what somebody else is doing or policing somebody else's behavior or how they're holding things, that is your cue to get to work. Spirit just tells me, keep building, keep building, keep building the alternative, right? It's a much better investment of our energy to start to build the new now and orient our lives to where we're going, not where we're leaving, not where we've been. So it's an opportune time to work with medicine, to have the support of nature, spirit, the cosmos, our ancestors. Everybody wants to move. They're waiting for us to move with them. So the more you can divest yourselves of these immature human behaviors that a lot of us grew up with, a lot of the older generations did, where it's just staying resistant to growth and staying in our immature self. Spirit has shown me orient yourself to nobility, sweep up all those leaky, immature behaviors that the human has. And you will be astounded by how quickly things can move when you do that. And the new people, relationships, opportunities, invitations, career things, just the magic that unfolds once you do that, Spirit responds immediately. Thank you so, so much for being here. Let me see if there's anything else that comes through for you guys at this time. Interesting. She says stick together is stick together. So beautiful. So so beautiful. Stick together. I'm not sure how to say it more beautifully and cleanly than that. Um, she's sharing that the next few months is going to be another shoot, is what she's calling it. Similar to what we're not going to have another pandemic, don't worry. But she said similar to another compression point, like we did have, like when the financial collapse in, I think it was like 2008, 2010 or 2020 and the pandemic, like we're going to go through some more compression points and stick together. She said in this next compression, like that's one of the most healing things is going to have regular, steady connection, community, relationship with other kindred spirits and souls. So it's sweet for her to say this because I've definitely seen that in my groups this year of like the people who are coming in. It's divinely orchestrated, absolutely divinely orchestrated, of people pulling themselves into the perfect group at the perfect time, coming to the medicine at the perfect time, um, and stick together. And stick together. It's funny, like all the groups that I have been with this year, everybody didn't want to leave. We kind of get this feeling like at the end of the call, like nobody really wants to leave. Or at the end of the container, like nobody's really completely done yet, myself included. So I think that's what Spirit is saying when she says stick together, is those bonds, those spirit driven bonds are going to be steadfast and hold you steady more than anything else in the months ahead. So beautiful. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. I am always super open to hearing from you what you need, what you're curious about. We have some great episodes with some amazing people coming forward that I'm super excited to share with you. Some people I really, really love that I'm excited to introduce you to. And yeah, just wishing you all the best. I just want to honor you and thank you for being here and just honor some of you listening. I know have been with me for many, many years, decades, some of you. And I just want to honor all of you on your journey. You know, the last Spirit has shown me that this last really 6 years has been a really intense portal for a lot of you. Some of you are like in completely different lives and bodies than you were 6 years ago. And so just honoring that and honoring that in yourself, I think is really, really important in time. You know, as humans, we tend to always look toward the future and to getting toward our goal. And sometimes we lose sight of like really how far and how much we have grown in our lives. So I just want to honor you and to encourage you to take a minute to reflect and honor yourself in that today. All right. Happy eclipse, everybody. I look forward to seeing you back in just a couple weeks. And for all of our new guides kicking off the training next week, I am super looking forward to seeing you all together for the first time on Tuesday. All right. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Microdosing for Healing podcast. Ready to take the next step? Please visit us online at microdosingforhealing.com. There you'll find lots of information about our global community, professional training programs, and upcoming immersions. See you there.